Hello, and welcome to the first in the series of what to eat on a low nickel diet. I'm going to first start with what you can be eating as far as fruit. We'll go over the low nickel fruits and then some fruits that are like iffy, moderate, and then if you stay till the very end, I will discuss the high nickel fruits that you'll want to stay away from and avoid for at least a little while and in large quantities. Now, the thing to remember about nickel in food is that you're not going to avoid it entirely. You want to basically eat a low nickel diet, especially in the very beginning. As you kind of become accustomed to it and any of your symptoms start to subside, you'll be able to eat some things with nickel in them. So when you see something that is high in nickel, it's not like it's going to be completely eliminated. Sometimes it's better to eliminate it, but the best thing to do is to eat a low nickel diet. Now, obviously, if you have an allergy to one of these items, you'll avoid it. If it's not really sitting right with you, just eliminate it. Try one of the others. So this video is focusing on nickel only. You might have some other allergies that are causing you problems for other reasons. And so you'll have to deal with that on your own. Everybody's different. And it kind of like starts, as you start trying different foods, you start realizing like, oh, this one might be a problem for me. We're going to talk about this great list of low nickel fruits that will sustain you on the low nickel diet, and you'll be able to use them as snacks and incorporate them into desserts and any kind of baking that you're doing. So it's fantastic to know what you can eat as far as fruit. Without further ado, I'd like to start with one of my favorite fall snacks, the apple. Apples are one of my favorite. So my favorite is actually Fuji or Honeycrisp. I really love those two apples, but everyone has their favorite. So just pick up what you like. And what I like to do is really slice these thin. Instead of wedges, I'll do real thin slices, kind of like apple chips. And the other thing I really love to do with apples is to chop them up and put them in a pan with a little bit of water. I like to saute that until they're a nice compote. It kind of breaks down. I leave the skins on, and instead of an applesauce, it's more of like a compote. You can let that chill and then add that to your yogurt, or you can add it over ice cream. You can just eat it on its own. You can add cinnamon and sugar if you'd like, but otherwise it's a really great little snack. The next thing I'm going to talk about is cherries. So cherries are a great snack, fresh, to bring to the park or to the beach. They're very filling. They give you a lot of fiber, and they have that sweetness that we are looking for. So frozen cherries in the freezer is amazing because you can take them out, defrost them a little bit, and you'll add them to your yogurt or to a smoothie. You just want to make sure that there's no pits left in the de-pitting process. So I always kind of like inspect them all a little bit before I put them in a smoothie. But they're great to have around, frozen or fresh. And I love cherries. They are considered maybe moderate nickel. So try them out and see how they do for you. I think it depends on where they're grown. So that's something to take into consideration with any of your fruits or vegetables. Okay, let's talk about grapes. Another really great summertime snack. And they have that sweetness that you're looking for, really easy to bring on the go. And how refreshing are grapes when you need a little bit of fluid and refreshment in the hot summer sun. Many people like to freeze grapes and then they eat them just like that. They'll take them out and take them as a snack, and they're just like perfect when they're ready to have them. I have sensitive teeth, so that's not really my cup of tea, but I'm happy to have a handful of grapes as I'm walking out the door. Don't forget that raisins are included in that category. I have raisins right here, and you just want to make sure that there's no sunflower oil in the raisins. Typically, raisins don't have sunflower oil. However, other dried fruits often do. If you're enjoying this video, I'd love for you to subscribe if it's helping you in your low nickel journey. And if you've already subscribed, hit the like button so it'll send the video out to other people just like you who are working on the low nickel diet and kind of new to it. They might need this information. Let's talk about the berries that are allowed on the low nickel diet. So first of all, blueberries are a great option that are low in nickel, and will sustain you throughout the year. You can find them in the markets frozen or fresh year-round. Whether you're adding these to your baking, your smoothies, or your yogurt, you'll have no problem incorporating these into your diet. Living here in the Northeast, cranberries are a huge part of our diet. I throw a handful of cranberries into my smoothies, and I love the tartness that it brings. I also use them in baking and make cranberry sauce regularly, which is just cranberries, frozen cranberries or fresh, and sugar. The last berry I'm going to tell you about is something that's fairly new to me, and I love picking up this lingonberry jam. So this has been fantastic. It's a Scandinavian treat, and hopefully you can find it. I never really find lingonberries, but I always find this jam, and it's been really helpful when I'm making crepes or French toast and something a little bit sweet but tart, and I love it. It's become one of my favorites. Okay, so there's your list of low nickel fruits that you can eat on a regular basis, but there's more. There are some fruits that are low in nickel but contain, I don't know the science, but there are some low nickel fruits that are low in nickel but high in histamine. So you might react to them based on the level of histamine, and you'll have to test them out yourself. Especially in the beginning, you'll want to probably steer clear of them, and I'm going to show you which ones those are now. Citrus is low in nickel and I eat it all the time. I love getting the vitamin C benefit of natural citrus. But some people will flare up and have symptoms, and it's a personal thing for everybody. I especially love oranges, grapefruits, clementines, you name it, lemon lime. I especially love drinking Spindrift seltzers, and they have a wonderful lemon flavor and yuzu mandarin orange flavor that I just love having on the regular. After doing this diet for a while, has citrus become part of your rotation? Bananas are another low nickel treat, but have a histamine issue associated with them, so be a little careful with bananas as well. You might also want to consider being careful with strawberries. Strawberries are known to cause a little bit of a histamine release, and there are some fruits that are moderate in nickel, and they may be high based on where they're grown. So these include peaches, pears, kiwis, and persimmon. I would recommend being a little cautious with them. It's an individual thing. I've been able to eat peaches with no problem, but it is on an individual basis. We have gotten to the bottom of the list. There are some obscure fruits that have a certain level of nickel, but I can't cover everything. So if you have a question about one of these or more obscure items, leave it below and maybe someone else in the group can help you with the answer. It's always nice to be helpful in this community because we're always trying to figure out, can I eat this, or what mostly can we eat? And it's always nice to have a second opinion on that. As I promised, we're going to talk about the fruits that are high in nickel and the ones you should be avoiding in the beginning or in large amounts. That is the key. You kind of need to reset and eat a low nickel diet for a while. And the important part is that you're not eating a huge amount of high nickel foods daily. Sometimes one item will set you off, but if you think about it, the more food you're eating, the more nickel you are intaking. So you can limit your discomfort with avoiding things that are higher in nickel. First thing we're going to talk about is considered a fruit, and it's probably the most difficult for most of us to give up, especially with its popularity these days, but avocado. And it's hard to give it up if you love it. Now the thing about avocado is that the avocado oil is usually okay, especially if it's just straight avocado oil and not mixed with like sunflower oil or one of the seed oils. The same goes for coconut oil. Normally that's okay for people and it's lower in nickel. A lot of the seed oils even are lower in nickel, but the meat of the coconut and the avocado are higher in nickel. I hope that makes sense. So that covers coconut as well, so stay away from that one as well. Next would be the highest in nickel for berries, and that would be blackberries and raspberries. These are known to be a little bit higher in nickel, and you probably want to just stick with blueberries for now. Next would be pineapple. I know it's a tough one to give up, but it's typically high in nickel because of where it's grown. They're normally grown in Hawaii where there's a very volcanic soil, so it pulls up the nickel from the soil and it makes pineapples a little bit higher in nickel. Hopefully you'll be able to have some pineapple at some point along the way. Next would be figs and dates, and they are considered higher in nickel and should be avoided, especially in the beginning of a low nickel diet. And lastly, I'm adding plums and apricots to the list. They're known to be higher in nickel and should be eaten with caution. Okay, that does it for the fruit category of the low nickel diet. And what have you learned? What surprises you? What are you going to have the hardest time giving up? Let me know below, and if you have any really fantastic ways of preparing any of these fruits, share it with the community and let them know below. Like put a little recipe below, copy and paste it, or just tell us what you're doing with one of your, snacks or any fun preparation. I'd love to hear it. Bye for now, and feel free to ask any questions in the comments below, either here or on Instagram or Facebook. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe.